Yeah, okay.
Okay, start. Thank you.
Rahim, sorry for the interruption. Yeah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin wa salatu wa salam ala ashraf nabiyyil mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So first of all, thank you for the invitation for this prestigious event, International Conference for the 6th edition. So my name is Muhammad Fadhli bin Abdul Rahman, or also known as Fadhli Rahman Abbas. So I am from Universiti Islam Selangor, and from Halal Advisory and Research Institute Selangor Haris. So I have been given a topic, bridging the gap from Islamic scholarship to halal industry leadership. So these are our agenda. What we will be discussed. We have three main agenda. The first one is what are the roles of scholars in shaping halal governance. Second, maybe some of the example case studies on the knowledge transfer from academia to industry. And last but not least is how can we keep Islamic scholarship relevant in today's halal business industry? So a little bit introduction on Haris. So basically we in Haris are focusing on halal talent and professional development through comprehensive exposure to training, research, innovation, and professional recognition. So we here in Haris are offering any collaboration and working to create sustainable halal talent and professional ecosystem. So first of all, I would like to start with the terminology what we have select today. The first one is what is basically meaning of the Islamic scholarship. So one of the definition of Islamic scholarship is a structured and deep study of Islamic teachings, covering areas like theology, law, ethics, history, and even the sciences. So it is grounded in the Quran and Sunnah and relies on methods such as ijtihad, tafsir, and hadith analysis. So if we compare to the today's scholarship, it continues to evolve, influencing modern disciplines such as Islamic finance, bioethics, and governance that ensure Islamic principles stay relevant in the today's world. And then the second term, what is the meaning of halal industry? There are a few definitions that given by the scholars, and some of the definition is halal industry means an industry that produce goods and services that comply with Islamic law, ensuring that they are free from prohibited elements and ethical in their sourcing, production, and distribution. The second definition is halal industry means a global business sector based on Islamic dietary laws, extending beyond food to pharmaceuticals, cosmetic, logistics, and finance. And the last one is halal industry is a fast-growing economic system that combines religious compliance with modern business ethics, attracting Muslim and non-Muslim consumers alike. And in Malaysia, we also define halal industry as a subset of economy encompassing the production of goods, whether food or non-food, and also the services that are aligned with Shariah principles. So this one I take from the Halal Industry Occupational Framework, Mission 2021. And then last but not least is a term of leadership. So what is leadership? This leadership is the ability to influence people towards the attainment of goal. So there are also a few definition the scholars, the definition of leadership. First one is a process whereby an individual influence a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. Second one, leadership as the process of influencing others to understand and agree about what needs to be done and how to do it, and facilitating individuals and collective efforts to accomplish shared objectives. The last one, leadership is based on the base 1990 introduced transformational leadership, where a leader inspires and motivates followers to achieve exceptional outcomes. So what is leadership from Islamic perspective? So in Islam, basically, there are also the concept of leadership. Normally, we know as amanah or trust given by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and leaders are expected to serve their people with justice and rightness. It is based on faith, iman, morality, and accountability to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. According to Al-Habishi and Ghazali, define Islamic leadership as the ability to influence and serve others while upholding Islamic principles, justice, and collective consultation, or we known as shura. Based on Bikun and other scholars emphasize that Islamic leadership is a moral and ethical commitment to serve the community with justice, humility, and accountability. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam exemplified leadership through compassion, consultation, justice, and trust, trustworthiness or aman, according to Sahih Al-Bukhari, Hadith 93. So now, what is the meaning of halal industry leadership? Basically, based on what we have seen before, so we can combine the halal industry and leadership in one term. So the meaning is the ability to guide, manage, and innovate within the global halal sector while ensuring compliance with Islamic principles. So it involves setting strategic directions, upholding halal integrity, and fostering sustainable growth in industries. So gap. What is a gap? The gap is a difference, discrepancy, or missing link between two elements. So it indicates a lack of alignment, understanding, or connection between concept, processes, or expectations. So there are a few types of gaps that we can see from here, such as knowledge gap, skill gap, expectation gap, performance gap, and theory practice gap. So what we want to see today, is it gap presence or exists between Islamic scholarship and halal industry leadership? So based on a few discussion, we can see this different based on a few topic. First is based on the knowledge base. If we see from the knowledge base, Islamic scholarship is rooted in Quran, Hadith, Fiqh, Usul Fiqh, ethics, and theology, while halal industry leadership requires business, human, science, and technology, regulatory compliance, and market trends. Okay. The second one is based on the approach. The Islamic scholarship, the approach is more on theoretical and jurisprudential, focusing on legal or fiqh interpretation of Islamic principles, while halal industry leadership is more on practical and business driven, ensuring market competitiveness, innovation, and certification. So the third element is the decision making. In terms of Islamic scholarship, decision making is based on the fatwas and Shariah rulings based on Islamic law and ethical considerations. While for halal industry leadership, decision making is guided by business strategy, profitability, and global regulations. The last one is about compliance and standards. For Islamic scholarship, the scholars issues religious ruling fatwas but do not oversee industrial implementation. But for halal industry leadership, the industry leaders follow the global halal standards such as the standard from JAKIM. In Malaysia, we have JAKIM. We have published the manual procedure for Malaysia halal certification, or we call as MPPHM. In international level, we have SMIC, YC SMIC. Maybe at the regional level, we have ESMA, etc. So based on these four components, knowledge base, from the approach, from the decision making and compliance and standard, we can conclude that there are a gap or differences between Islamic scholarship and halal leadership. First, in terms of knowledge base, the identified gap is that there are lack of business and technical expertise among scholars, while there are limited Shariah knowledge among industry leaders. The second aspect is approach. We can see that the scholars may lack real-world industry experience, while business leaders may lack deep Islamic knowledge. In terms of decision-making aspect, there are conflict between Shariah-based decisions and business feasibility. And last but not least is about compliance and standard. Some halal certification do not fully align with Islamic scholarship due to industry and economic pressures. So what are the challenges due to this gap? First one, the lack of standardization in halal certification. So the scholars has debate the acceptability of certain industrial practice, but industry leaders prioritize global trade and consumer demands. For example, in terms of application of stunning in halal slaughtering. So some scholars reject the application of stunning, but industry use it to comply with animal welfare laws. That's why we can see some of the country accept this practice, this stunning practice, but another country is reject this stunning practice. The second one is the disconnection between scholars and scientists. For example, Islamic scholars normally lack technical knowledge such as food science, pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, etc., etc. While halal industry leaders lack in terms of Shariah knowledge, and then this can lead to questionable halal compliance. For example, in terms of to determine the status of gelatin, either these products or material is halal or not. So many scholars debate its permissibility, but industry needs a practical, scientifically tested halal alternatives. The third one, the third challenges is the profit-driven versus ethics-driven decision. So some business leaders prioritize profit over strict halal compliance, but the scholars emphasize Shariah adherence. But industries may push for leniency to meet market demand. For example, some halal certified products contain artificial flavors derived from non-halal sources. So what are the role of scholars in shaping this halal governance? So Islamic scholars play a critical role in shaping halal governance by ensuring that business practices, industry standards, and regulatory framework align with Islamic principles. So the first role is to define, the Islamic scholars need to define what are the standard and principles to be used in this industry. It is very important to interpret what is halal and haram and not creating the confusion among the community or industries. So we need to have standardizing halal definitions to ensure that this standard can be used by all of industries. The second role is to structuring halal certification bodies. So these halal certification bodies or HCB need to evaluate the production process and at the same time to issue fatwas and legal ruling. For example, in Malaysia, we have JAKIM to govern or to manage the halal industry through its certification procedure. And we also have fatwa institution such as Muzakarah Fatwa Kebangsaan. Also, we have mufti in each state in Malaysia to give a direction for the industries. The third role of scholars is to addressing regional and global halal policy challenges in terms of to unify or to harmonize the global halal standards and to ensure ethical business practices in the industry. And then last but not least, the role of scholars also to provide training and education to the industry professional. So we can see in terms of Malaysian practices, we have academic program in halal studies. I think yesterday the panelists have shared with us the MPA halal study standard, which have been used to develop in order to develop halal academic program in Malaysia. And then also we have also professional course for halal executive and also internal halal auditor that been governed by the JAKIM through Halal Professional Board or HB. So these are the four, or maybe there are more roles of scholars towards shaping halal governance. So what are the case studies on knowledge transfer from academia to industry in the halal sector? In terms of Malaysian perspective, there are a few examples of knowledge transfer from academia to industry. First one, maybe we can see from this slide, the collaboration between UPM and CRCA from Philippines to develop the halal industry together with the Philippines. So I think one of the quote, when this program ends, participants will return to the Philippines and disseminate this halal knowledge in their country. So this will initiate further collaboration between UPM and Philippines, particularly in developing the global halal sector. The second example is also from UPM. UPM and Muslim Best Marketing to work closely in developing halal system. So I quote one of the statement, our company deals with anchor vendor. It's from the Muslim Best Marketing. Our company means Muslim Best Marketing deals with anchor vendor factory that produce food products and will analyze anchor vendor products using the facilities at FPPH UPM. So basically, Muslim Best Marketing is the anchor for the MARA. So both parties will ensure that raw material, machines, and detergent follow the halal certification as set by the Shariah. There also another example from other universities, from UITM. So UITM is making strides to expand global cooperation network to ensure that by 2025, it becomes a globally renowned university in science, technology, humanities, and entrepreneurship. At the same time, it is hoped that UITM research ecosystem will be elevated and continue to produce excellent research in traceability in halal food supply chain. And there are more examples from MSU University. So MSU have a MOU with Angkasa International. Primarily, this to secure the future of halal sustainability. The new collaboration seeks to build a talent pool of halal professionals in the Central Asia region through research as well as halal studies. So there are more examples. This one from UTM with Kumamoto University in Japan. This one is between UMPSA and MARA in terms of collaboration for halal gelatin project. And then this one, I think currently, I think last year, Duo Pharma Biotech collaborate with UKM for halal pharmaceutical symposium, which is this symposium aiming to provide a platform for exposure, knowledge sharing, and discussion among delegates, thus contributing to enhancing the sustainability of the halal pharmaceutical industry in Malaysia and globally. So the symposium featured a panel discussion, paper presentation, viewing of research posters, and a research colloquium. Another example is from UMT, Universiti Malaysia Terengganu. So where this university have set up a halal innovative product hub, where this hub can assist or help SMEs entrepreneurs to generate income. So I quote one of the statement, the food processing center is expected to create a variety of halal, innovative quality and food products, according to Professor Mazlan, which is the Vice Chancellor of UMT. So this center is owned by UMT startup company, Honey Melon World Sdn Bhd. So he said UMT is always willing to help the communities through its knowledge transfer programs and its expertise in entrepreneurship and research-based innovative products commercialization. And then also I taken from this cutting, which is Jakim to develop new halal certification module to produce more professional in halal field. So basically, even though the contribution of universities or academia is not mentioned in this development of international halal executive module, basically it involved KIHIM, which involve halal institute from public universities, from USIM, from UPM, from and also from USIM. So according to Minister of Religious Affairs, he said that he was confident that through the renewed module, the country would be able to export more professionals in the halal field to other countries in effort to develop the halal industry internationally. So this is an endorsement for the country because the newly developed module can certainly provide added value to the new talents both locally and internationally. And last but not least, the example of knowledge transfer from academia to industry is um, the the introduction of what we call a certificate readiness assessment, or CRA. So this initiative has been done by Halal International Selangor, which is one of the agency under state government of Selangor. So this the development of system is aligned with uh, the halal certification policy, which to fasten the process of halal certification instead of maybe from previously from 60 days and then shortened to 30 days and now to 31 days. So this initiative basically involved also universities in Selangor, such as MSU, UiTM, and also University Islam, Selangor. So based on this initiative, the ESCO of Selangor, who are responsible for the halal industry in Selangor, mentioned that the introduction of CRA, or certification readiness assessment, helps applicant prepare before applying for the Malaysia Halal verification certificate. The CRA is also expected to reduce the risk of certification application being rejected or not passing due to not meeting the certification requirements. So based on records from January to October last year, 2024, a total of 2,460 56 new applications were received through the CRA. Okay, and how to ensure this Islamic scholarship remains relevant in halal business practices? Why? Because halal industry is rapidly evolving, driven by technological advancement, globalization, and changing consumer preference. So the first strategy is to integrate Islamic scholarship with modern halal business practices. For example, nowadays we are facing with the issues of GMOs, culture. So we need to have um, the the knowledge how to deal with the issues. The second strategy is to developing Shariah compliance standards for emerging halal sectors. So, for example, we need to have clear fatwas on the permissibility of vaccines, insulin, and skincare products. The third one is incorporating business and technology knowledge in Islamic studies curriculum. For example, establish halal executive training program that equip scholars with both Islamic knowledge and industry skills. Last one is strengthening Islamic scholarship in halal governance and policy making by addressing ethical and environment concerns in halal business. So, how we can bridging the gap between the halal, between the Islamic scholarship and halal leadership. So, the first one, we need to have global standardization of halal regulation, meaning that scholars and industry leaders should work towards a unified global halal certification standard that balance Sharia principles and industry practically. For example, we have OIC SMIC that is working to harmonize halal certification worldwide. Second, how to bridge the gap is through strengthening collaboration between scholars and industry experts. So the government should facilitate a joint research program between universities and halal industries. Second one, the regular knowledge exchange forum where scholars and business leaders discuss modern challenges. For example, JAKIM have collaborated with universities locally to ensure that halal compliance is both Sharia-based and scientifically sound. And last but not least, I would like also to propose to create a new generation of halal scholars. Instead of we use Islamic scholars, so we produce what we call as halal scholars, or I mentioned as Gen H. So universities should offer a specialized designated program in halal studies. The scholars must engage in industry research and modern technology to provide practical halal ruling. For example, in Malaysia, we have, as I mentioned earlier, also mentioned by speakers yesterday, that Malaysia has published the halal study standards as reference for halal academic program universities. So this standard has already integrated fiqh, science, and business. So meaning that when the universities want to develop any uh, programs, any academic program, so they need to comply with this halal studies standard. So as summary for the first presentation, the gap between Islamic scholarship and halal industry leadership may arise from differences in knowledge, approach, decision making, and priorities. Second one, the need of integrating Islamic knowledge with modern industry knowledge to ensure halal integrity, consumer trust, and sustainable industry growth. And last one, as a proposal to bridge this gap, it is crucial to first one establish global halal certification standards. As we know, it's been developed right now under SMIC OIC. And then second one, to foster collaborations between Islamic scholars and industry. And then last one is creating new generations of halal scholars. So with that, Alhamdulillah, thank you. Lending your ears. Bila taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, it was an insightful presentation. But what I realize is that Mr. Fadhli, you are being a bit what do you call it, shy in sharing what your university is doing or what your institute is championing. What's in store from your institute? As I was involved in the discussion about the halal, what do you call that? The next thing that we need to do for the halal executive, something that they can explore apart from the professional course that is standard from JAKIM. I think that is quite a good module to be shared here because it's an eye-opening. Even though it is not fully the Islamic scholarship angle, but perhaps, from these learnings of the past few days, we can also upgrade that module to include some of the feedback that we got from the previous speakers. Say, for example, the one from Miss Gemma, Sister Gemma of the UK, when she was saying about the scholars may know about the fiqh, but they don't know about the practicality in implementing the fiqh, especially in terms of animal husbandry and slaughtering. What's your views on that? Mr. Fadhli?
Yes, Rosie.
Yeah. I was thinking,
Yeah.
What's your view? Yeah. What was your view on Sister Gemma's what do you call it, opinion or suggestion last Saturday about the Islamic scholars? They are very strong in fiqh, but they lack the practical implementation or the actual real life restriction or challenges in practicality, especially in animal husbandry and slaughtering. And she was saying something that is similar to what was your the last proposal or suggestion that you have in your slide about Gen H. So perhaps you could explore a bit on that, how we can bridge the gap between the theoretical fiqh and the practicality.
So basically, in terms of what we have practiced today, I think for the last 20, 30 years, we have specialized, what we call specialized Shariah background and also the technical background. So basically, I think this is a time for us. I think Malaysia have starting a good initiative through this halal study standard, where they mention what are the body of knowledge that need to be have by the halal expert or halal scholars. So basically, when we talk about the element of Shariah or fiqh, or elements of technicality, for example, as mentioned by Madam Rosie right now about the animal husbandry, about the slaughtering, about the new about the modern technology in slaughtering, and also about the business management. For example, in terms of what we call as the strategic management, the business management, the what we call as original behavior. So it's been mentioned in this standard. So meaning that the halal, we need to have specialized or dedicated program if we want to focus producing halal expert or halal scholars. Okay, so yes, right now we have food tech. For example, me myself, I am from food science, food tech background. But at the same time, when we involve in industry, so we need another session. So we need to have another education to learn more on fiqh or Shariah. The same situation goes to Shariah background. We need to where they need to attend, maybe in terms of the technical courses. For example, in halal we talk about maybe yesterday we also talk about the element of food safety. Food safety, as mentioned by Prof. Alina, food safety in terms of HACCP, in terms of GMP, GHP, etc., etc. So right now, I think it is a time we need to take action to ensure that this halal been mold from the education. Maybe right now we have at the higher education at the tertiary level, so maybe we can start nurturing this halal awareness, or halal so what we call halal talent, since maybe from secondary school or from the primary school. Allah.
I was also thinking about the other recommendation we discussed together. When you look at the English subject, right?
Yes.
English, what we study in school and all that is very wide. You have the grammar and all that.
Yeah.
But as you go to work, there's also English for business,
Yes.
right? So I have recommended to you in our discussions previously about having the Quranic Arabic for halal business.
Yes, correct, madam.
Right? Because I would say that I'm very interested in that because you just look at the translations is very general. You know, it doesn't meet my need to really understand how does it impact the halal industry as we practice halal. So thank you very much, Ustaz Fadhli. For your presentation. There's a question. I think I addressed this question before we go to the panel discussion because unfortunately our second speaker is not able to join us. So let's tackle this question. Ustaz, do fixed students have placement during internship for technical exposure?
I share based on the Malaysian perspective lah. Normally for fixed student, they depend on the course that they have been taken lah. For example, maybe in terms of they are purely Islam studies, there are no internship. Compared maybe in terms of Shariah students or Da'wah students, so maybe they have internship program. So normally in terms of internship program, the student can take the subject of what we call as final year project, or we call as latihan ilmiah lah, or they need to prepare the thesis. So normally for fixed student or Islamic background student, normally they don't have the internship program compared to the specialized programs. Normally, the student that will have this internship or practical is technical student, such as maybe we have food science student, food tech student, biotech students, or maybe in terms of business, they need to have this internship student. But I, based on my observation nowadays, I think more and more programs provide this internship student because they are realizing in terms of not the technical aspect, but also, but in terms of the social skill that need to be have by the students, because after the study they need to communicate or interact with others, with community, with the industry. So before they are ready to work in the industry, so they need to have a internship program. Allah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, just like what Brother Hafif was saying yesterday, him coming from University Al Azhar, the students there, their aspiration was becoming an ustaz or scholars, just go to the scholar. Now I think, he's the first one. I'm not sure whether in the world, but at least the ones that I know that suddenly become now in a biopharmaceutical industry. So I hope that he can inspire all the other Islamic scholar student that you should be contributing your knowledge into areas such as halal, especially because I believe, we depend highly on the food and beverages and other things that we consume into our body. That's whatever we consume will then dictate our mind and heart, right? Okay, we are on to the next session.